Well, good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Chris Holtzman here. It's our Weather Authority Weekday stream, our Wednesday edition. We're through the middle of the week, and we are tracking more sunshine around, but a big warm-up, so that's the big story. It's been chilly the past couple of days. We had temperatures this morning, 30s for most of us. Yesterday, we were in the 20s and 30s. Monday was even colder, but we're at an upward trend as we head over the next couple of days. Let's take a live look outside, and we'll look into the St. Augustine area. How about that? Nice and sunny there, some clouds mixing in. But overall, it is a very nice morning, and as we head over the next couple of hours, we'll continue to see those clouds filter in from time to time. Live look there over Julington Creek, where again we are tracking a mix of sun and clouds across the area. Temperatures there right around 55 degrees. We have a northerly wind, and that's why temperatures have been chilly over the past couple of days. But our wind direction will start to change as we head into the, we'll say, next couple of days by Thursday into Friday. There's a live look over Jacksonville, where we do have some of those mid to even upper level clouds around. Temperatures already up into the 50s and 60s now, so we are starting to warm up. 61 there with that northerly wind around 10 miles per hour, and same temperature there at Jacksonville International. Now, low temperatures this morning, I mean, look at some of these numbers. 20s, 29 in Waycross, it was 37 in Brunswick, low 30s in McClenny. Jacksonville was at 36, 37 in St. Augustine, even Palatka over to Green Cove Springs, mid to upper 30s. And as we look at a wider shot here, biggest thing we have across the eastern part of the country is a front, rain extending from the north to the south, even some snow where it is cold enough up into Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. But locally here across our area, we'll continue to watch some of those clouds stream in from the Gulf, and that's why we're calling for a partly to mostly cloudy sky for the day. Temperatures, we are starting to warm up as expected. Jacksonville already up to 61, 60 in St. Augustine. We have Palatka in the upper 50s, as well as McClenny. Lake City's 52, and Waycross, a nice rebound in our temperature up to 55 after starting out the day in the upper 20s. So temperatures are running a few degrees warmer compared to this time yesterday, generally 5 to even 10 degrees warmer across the area. So our wind still a northerly wind around 5 to even 15 miles per hour. But what we'll be watching for generally is a southerly wind direction over the next few days. In fact, look at a wind chill is not an issue. What we are looking at, though, is those temperatures. So the temperatures will be certainly up into the 60s by the afternoon, mid to even upper 60s, mainly cloudy, but still very pleasant if you are heading out for any outdoor activities. And highs for the day, you will see 50s, 60s on the map. Most of us in the mid to even upper 60s. The only exception likely into our Georgia zones. Brunswick at 59, 61 in St. Mary's, upper 60s at Jacksonville. There's 70 at Palatka. At St. Augustine will be in the low to even mid 60s. Futurecast shows throughout the day we will be looking at dry weather. Now this is trying to show into Thursday a couple of showers. Very small chance of that as a front moves in from the west. Not expecting widespread activity, and our freeze alerts, well, they've expired. We had a frost advisory this morning and even a freeze warning. But again, those expired at 8 o'clock. Now, temperatures tonight were safely above freezing, 40s and 50s on the map, so we're not in the 20s and 30s like we were over the past couple of mornings. So a more mild night, a more seasonable night, and then temperatures will start to climb above normal as we head into our day on Thursday. We're looking at temperatures into the 60s and 70s across our area, so it should be a very comfortable day on Thursday, at least compared to where we've been over the past couple of days. And into Thursday, we're starting out the day cloudy, and then more sunshine will return by the afternoon and evening, with temperatures, as I mentioned, up into the 70s. Now, I want to show you our temperature forecast. You can see that colder air from Canada. Look at where Florida and Georgia is, though. So we're tracking generally the coldest of the air to stay to our north. And there's that shot of cold air as a system develops from the west. And it looks like temperatures across our area will generally be warm enough to support at least rain across our region, but just to our north, a potentially catastrophic ice storm could occur with icing amounts perhaps over 1/10 to even 2/10 of an inch. I'll talk about that in just a moment, but temperatures over the next couple of days above normal, mid 60s, that's our average high. We're forecasting low 70s on Thursday. By Friday, look at some of those numbers, 77 and then near 70 on Saturday. Although Saturday and Sunday's temperatures could be much higher depending on where the warm air sets up. Now, what we're looking out for generally is a chance for some rain by the weekend. And that's in the form of just plain rain, and that would be with a system. So what I'm going to do now, we'll kind of zoom into our models and show you the latest information of what we're looking at. So this is the European model, and we talked about this yesterday. And what we're looking out for, you can see that development of the activity on Sunday. And one thing to note as well with some of these models, now this puts the icing well to the north. You can see where we have that northeasterly wind. This is a classic setup for a cold air advection event where that colder air is trapped at the surface. So you can see the direction of the arrows there coming in from the northeast. And that means that there's an overrunning situation where there's a lot of moisture. And this would be in the form of ice across the Carolinas from Columbia up to Greenville, Spartanburg, Charlotte, Raleigh. And then notice to the north, it is plain snow across Virginia up into the Delmarva Peninsula. Actual low pressure center, the model is showing, is right about here. So you get the colder air wrapping around on the backside of that model. And then to the south, well, it's warm. Look at our wind direction to the south. And that southerly wind will bring those temperatures up. And you can see by Sunday into Monday, we see the potential for some rain, which would likely be delayed until the afternoon. So that's a look at the European model. Freezing rain potential as we advance here. Let's take a look at that with the same model, and I can show you where the icing potential will be. And one thing to note, you'll see pretty interesting ice amounts up into the Carolinas, and we can see this now. I want to keep this in mind. A lot of these numbers, the model has a hard time depicting what's actually falling as freezing rain and sleet. A lot of these numbers are way overdone, but where you see the brighter colors is where the model is saying, yeah, there's a good chance at least of seeing icing accumulation, even a glaze from Charleston over to Savannah. But we'll see some of these amounts. So even just keep in mind, a glaze of ice can create travel troubles, and the models are definitely showing at least the potential for more of that. And that extends not only from the Carolinas, but over to Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas. So this is a far-reaching storm that extends from Texas all the way to the East Coast. The next model we have, which we're looking at, this is the GFS model. And what we'll do is we'll zoom on in here. So as we head through Friday, there's the icing line. And this brings it as far south, say, as Statesboro, Georgia, Macon, Warner Robins. And our viewing area, there's Waycross right there. So this would be certainly a warmer solution, which would be just rain with that icing to the north. And then you'll see the snow as well. And as we advance into Sunday afternoon, keeping the icing around the Carolinas, Georgia, could be a very interesting event for Atlanta, depending on where that warm air is. They could be dealing with a significant amount of ice. And then into Monday, this system crosses with a front on the south side of that system. GFS icing potential as we advance into the weekend. And I'll kind of zoom down, you'll see most of the ice north of our area. In fact, again, some of these models have a hard time picking up exactly what these amounts are. So again, I caution you when you see 2 inches, it could be in the form of sleet as well that this model is picking out that number. But again, a good idea for the general consensus. It looks like from the Carolinas to this area here would be the best potential to see it. And some of those locations, if you have friends or family there, across Columbia there, down to portions of the Charleston area, up into the PD region, that's the northeastern part of the state, Myrtle Beach there, Florence, in South Carolina, up into North Carolina points west. That's where the bullseye will be for any at least significant ice. Now I want to show you, pretty remarkable our models are showing this. The weekend there will be an extremely tight temperature gradient. I mean, look at some of, this is pretty remarkable. You can't get tighter than this with temperatures, and forecasting this is a nightmare, especially if that line is right over your area. So this is what models are showing for temperatures. I'll zoom out a little bit more. Now you could be looking at temperatures in Georgia, 37, 37, 36. Look at the temperatures in Florida, upper 70s. In Georgia, we're looking at low 70s. So this model, this is the European model, is showing the warmer air is more to the north. This would be plain rain across our area. And even as I advance into Sunday, notice some of those temperatures into Monday. We're in the 50s with 40s and 30s and 20s north. And that would be in the form, once again, of plain rain. This is a look at the GFS model, or this is our Barron model, rather, our in-house model. And you'll see look at how tight the temperature gradient is as we head into Sunday. Now, this is an even tighter one, and notice this has the cold air more to the south. I mean, this is pretty remarkable. Look at some of these numbers. So as I put this, how about Statesboro forecasting 35, Brunswick 74, and then where this warm air is, I mean, look at Florida near 80. So we'll have to see exactly how far north that warm air will get, but this will be a very tight temperature gradient into Georgia as we head into the weekend and even early next week. Notice some of that colder air racing south with temperatures dropping into the 30s and 40s by Monday morning. Another model I want to show you as we're kind of diving deep into this is the GFS, also showing very good consensus on that tight gradient. Here's a look at Sunday afternoon, and this shows temperatures near Savannah in the 30s, Waycross in the 70s, near 80 for Florida as well. And that is about a 50 or 40 degree spread in temperatures. So again, what we do know is warm air will be around. Exactly how far north that gets, that's the question. I do think the cold air was trending more to the north, so this would be in the form of plain rain, and then you'll see temperatures drop into the 40s by Monday morning. So pretty remarkable, the change that we're looking at. I mean, temperatures are very tricky. Thankfully for our area, that line is not right over us, because that can be the difference between seeing freezing rain or plain rain, but right now looking a bit too warm. So on our 7-day forecast, we're looking at 67 for today, 72 on Thursday, and how about 77 Friday? Now again, over the weekend, temperatures could come up depending on the warm air. Wouldn't be surprised if we forecast 70s on Saturday and Sunday. But again, the forecast will vary greatly based on where you are. Cooler in Georgia, warmer in Florida, and then into early next week, we're looking at the activity coming to an end. Much colder likely by Monday and Tuesday, with temperatures back into the 40s and 50s. So let's look at the weather across our area here. What about our country? We'll break down the details after this short break. Let's talk about the weather across the country. We'll dive in more on that winter storm potential. Big story is the cold. I mean, look at most of the country. We're looking at teens and 20s and even colder temperatures around the way. I just want to show you wind chill, and then we'll talk about our forecast. But you can see the wind chill in the single digits in teens. And we have cold air coming in from the North Pole as we head over the next couple of days. Not so much here in Georgia and Florida, but across a large part of the country. Here's the latest on that cold air outbreak.
I wish it would stop.
I think we're pushing 20 inches, 21, 22 inches.
Residents in upstate New York digging out after a lake-effect snowstorm dumped more than 20 inches amid brutal winter weather.
We're going to get it for 24 hours straight for sure.
That lake-effect snow causing whiteout conditions. Authorities responding to multiple crashes on Interstate 90 involving roughly 60 vehicles over a 6-mile stretch of highway. Officials said there were multiple jackknife tractor trailers as well as passenger vehicles that were struck. Authorities had to divert traffic and shut down all westbound lanes of the interstate. The brutal winter weather is set to get worse for many, with the most extreme winter storm so far this season forecast to slam the eastern half of the U.S. with damaging ice and heavy snow. The storm, fueled by a blast of Arctic air, is set to hit the Midwest and Plains Thursday into Friday, then spread into the south and east this weekend. Communities in the storm's path are bracing for snow, sleet, and freezing rain, a dangerous wintry mix that could stretch more than 1,000 miles from Oklahoma and northern Texas to North Carolina and Virginia by Saturday night.
Salt shipment is very important. We were starting to get low from all we've had, and there so many different places is using salt right now, especially up north. It's getting kind of hard to get.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
All right, well, let's take a look at what we're looking at. And I do want to show you into the northeast, lake effect snow on the way. And that's exactly what we were looking at, that pileup that you saw in that package. That showed really how dangerous the roads can be with lake effect snow. And that snow is mainly to the north. You can see that snow potential across the upper states there, as we do have an upper level system, and that's aiding in the lake effect snow, or you could see perhaps feet of snow in the span of a couple of miles. And our rain potential today is across the south. Now, not so much over our area. This rain will try to fall apart as it moves into our area, but that moisture bringing rain from Texas all the way up into portions of the mid-Atlantic. And then notice as it moves east, that's the general track of that rain potential. And off to the west, you'll see that heat potential stretching from Nebraska west. And that's where the greatest chance for above normal temperatures will be across the higher elevations. Now, our setup into tomorrow, Well, we do run the risk for very small chance of a shower here in Florida. Looks like the best coverage will be just to our north. You can see the general track, and that's that flow ahead of that system, and that's keeping showers around as a system develops to our west. Wind chill potential, thankfully not over our area. It's up into the north, where we could see wind chills as low as 30 degrees below zero possible. But that cold is moving down into the country. In fact, our temperature setup, well, you'll see, look at that, above normal temperatures to the north, but eventually below normal temperatures will move into our area. In fact, the cold will start to settle in just in time for that system to develop. Remember, if you want snow, you need cold air in place before that system actually develops, and that dives further south, bringing much of the U.S. below freezing and into the Carolinas, where we mentioned there could be some wintry mix. Preparations are already underway for the potential system. Here's the latest from North Carolina.
In Avery County earlier today, we saw one truck after another pull into the NCDOT yard to bring approximately 1,000 tons of salt to Avery County. The DOT says it has enough supplies of salt statewide, but it has been a challenging winter to refill some orders in mountain counties because of storms in other parts of the country. In Avery County alone, they go through 250 to 300 tons of salt every winter. Just last week, we saw crews putting down brine, that salt water mixture, in neighboring Caldwell County. We got a chance to talk with the county maintenance engineer in Avery County about maintaining an adequate salt supply this winter.
Salt shipment is very important. We were starting to get low from all we've had, and there are so many different places is using salt right now, especially up north.
Yeah, and oftentimes with those events, you want to make sure you have equipment in place before the system starts, especially in the southern states where snowplows are not as common as the northern states, and the supplies as well. Now, into the northeast, as I mentioned, lake effect snow is a threat, and look at how remarkable some of this video is. Here's the latest from the northeast.
I wish it would stop.
Constant snowfall here in the town of Holland, covering driveways, street signs, and keeping John Esdinsky very busy.
Plow every couple hours or so, no big problem. But if it sneaks up on you overnight, then you got to get the snowblower out.
But when he bought this house 35 years ago, he knew what he was getting into.
I moved here because it was ski country, so I got no reason to complain. Can't live in Western New York and say, well, gee, I hope it don't snow.
He says the snow has been light, but
wind was brutal. I mean, you know, it was blowing and drifting, even though we don't have a lot of drifts or anything like that. You just couldn't be out here. It was just too brutal.
But he says he can depend on his streets to be clear.
Case in point, here they come right now, and if they don't do anything, they plow enough. I think the third time I've seen them today. I've been out here for like about 2 hours.
The snow's been manageable for us.
Highway Superintendent Jason Simmons has 3 trucks out here handling it all.
We don't have a second shift, so my guys do it all. So we're out at 4 in the morning, and we usually shut down around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, and then get some rest and then back out again at 4 in the morning.
He says visibility is the toughest part, so it's been helpful that schools and businesses are closed.
Because I don't have to worry about the buses, and it's a lot less traffic on the roads for us, for sure. It helps out a lot.
A lot of work, but nothing they're not used to.
I think we're pushing 20 inches, 21, 22 inches. It's definitely been a little bit of a while. We're going to get it for 24 hours straight for sure, but I mean, it's an old-fashioned winter, no doubt about it.
All right, well, pretty remarkable. I mean, look at that, all that snow, heavy snow, whiteout conditions. And anytime you get snow, well, that's where it becomes extremely difficult to drive. We had in that previous package a brief shot of a car crash. And look at that, a massive pileup into the lake effect snow bands there in Buffalo and across New York State. I mean, pretty remarkable. Now, in these snow bands, well, that's where travel becomes impossible, and they hit very quickly. And becomes whiteout. That's where you can't see anything in front of you, and that's due to the snow coming down so heavily. And even with light snow, you can still get whiteout conditions. So again, it is a pretty active pattern off to the north as you see the significant travel impacts off into New York. But the bottom line is the cold air will be in place for that system. Not so much over our area. We're watching that very closely for the latest model runs as to where exactly that cold air will set up. But again, the bottom line is a look ahead. Wednesday, we're tracking for today some rain off to our west. by Thursday, the system exits, and then there's that system starting to develop. And you can see that rain, snow, wintry mix already occurring across Texas into Oklahoma and Arkansas, where a potentially historic storm will try to develop, especially for the southern states. You know, anytime you get ice, even just a little bit, that can create extreme hazardous conditions, I should say, on highways. So we're going to keep you updated over the next few days on that system and also our local weather. Certainly a lot to talk about here on our stream today, and I'll be here at noon with the latest information, the latest model runs, and of course we'll have the latest information this evening as well, and also through the rest of the week into the weekend. So of course I hope you have a great rest of your day and have a good rest of your afternoon as well.